Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And before I get this video started, I just want to say I received a lot of emails about people telling me that the merger is stopped, halted, paused, and currently officially that is not the case. I just wanted to clear that up. The FCC commissioner recommended the merger to be paused. That has not officially taken place yet within the FCC. The investigation is still ongoing, and from sources, it looks like Sprint will pay a fine up to a certain dollar amount, which is unknown at this time, but that is the case currently. It has only been recommended by an FCC commissioner that the merger be paused, but again, officially, there hasn't been no paperwork or nothing submitted to put the merger on pause. So to the topic in today's video, the Sprint and T-Mobile merger delays could impact the tower sector into 2020. And if you guys remember a while back, I made a video about a tower company expressing that, hey, we've had these contracts ready, but T-Mobile has yet to give us any funding to pursue these tower builds, co-locations, whatever the case may be. And it looks like now from sources that is happening on both sides. So a few people that I spoke with are saying that they're currently upholding the contracts that have already been paid for on both sides. So if you're still seeing Sprint work in your area, adding new sites, upgrades and such, those contracts have already been paid for and are just being fulfilled. But anything going into 2020, 5G wise, new towers, expansions on both companies as they are still separated, looks like there aren't any new contracts being funded. So are we potentially going to see a slowdown as with the AT&T and T-Mobile merger back then? It is looking like this is going to happen in a similar way. So if you guys remember back then, AT&T was going to buy T-Mobile for a certain billion-dollar amount. And during the initial review of that merger by the FCC and the Department of Justice, both companies starved the network, so to speak. And it looks like in a critical time as we are transitioning into 5G, as back then we transitioned over to LTE, it looks like this may happen again. And it could be a major setback for both T-Mobile and Sprint and the new T-Mobile. The delay is impacting contractors, workers. Pretty soon here, people are predicting that Sprint individually, depending on how long the delay is going to have to start cutting jobs again within internally and at the stores and such, as they are predicting that Sprint is going to continue major losses into Q4, Q1, and Q2 next year. And there are already predictions out right now that Sprint is going to lose close to 300,000 on the postpaid side. But of course, nothing's official yet. As you guys know, I always report on it on the channel, and I'd rather wait until those numbers are actually official. But it is looking like Sprint is going to take a hit, even after the fact that they're pretty much giving their services away for free. They're giving great deals, big discounts on phones. They're still looking at taking a big hit. So at this point, it has to be the product, the network that they're offering is just not up to par in most cases. So I just want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. This will probably be a longer video on a Saturday, but could this really hinder both companies in terms of competition in the future? If the merger gets approved, they're going to be behind because Verizon and AT&T, I'm telling you guys, I have some internal documents I can't share publicly, but these guys are working. They are behind. As most of you know now, if you've been on the channel, AT&T and Verizon aren't really so vocal about the networks. You know, they don't, every time they hit a milestone, they don't necessarily announce it like T-Mobile does every 2 weeks. Hey, we just did, you know, hundreds of mid-band upgrades. AT&T and Verizon, they just don't announce it in that way. But these guys are working. We all know Verizon purchased a ton of fiber, so they're rolling that out. I mean, that's a given. There's no need for me to report on that. They are rolling out their own fiber across the nation, and they're doing so at a very fast pace for 5G, further improving 4G LTE. So if they have been working with any third parties such as Spectrum, even AT&T in terms of rolling the fiber to the sites, that just won't be the case going forward. Verizon's going to pull that out, and they're gonna lay their own fiber, and they're doing so in a pretty big square mileage. So AT&T's, of course, they're doing the same. They've been rolling out their own fiber here in El Paso. They're the #1 fiber company here. Spectrum does the fiber too, but AT&T is laying actual fiber as a home broadband internet provider. Spectrum here is still doing coaxial cables. They're providing gigabit speeds, but not with actual fiber optics that AT&T is doing. So they're both of the bigger companies. I mentioned it in another video. You just can't expect two companies that are spending far more than the smaller two to be behind. They're ahead, but they're just not mentioning it publicly like the smaller two are. So again, just keep that in mind going into 2020. I'm seeing a lot of slowdown from Verizon currently. And, you know, it's one or two things. I mean, they're Spectrum starved, don't get me wrong, but that also shows that they have a lot of users on the network. They are slowing down, and they're more and more heavily monitoring the network in terms of deprioritization. So now going forward, if you are above that threshold, you can pretty much bet on being slowed down now going forward. You're going to be expected that the network is going to be monitored to such a point where you're going to experience a difference in network going forward. Now, I'm probably going to make a separate video about this as I'm getting more info, but Verizon has changed the name on their online website from it being 22 gigabytes after you're going to be deprioritized. Now they're labeling it 22 gigabytes of premium data. So that's kind of up in the air now. So, you know, after 22 gigabytes is the data not premium anymore. You know, it's kind of a wording that has a lot of people confused. And I've gotten a lot of emails about it that people are saying, hey, look here, 22 gigabytes of premium data, what is this? You know, and then of course it's an upsell. They'll tell you, hey guy, you know, you're at 22 now, but if you upgrade to the 75 gigabyte plan, then you'll have more premium data available to you as a user. So, like I said, just keep all of that in mind. Going forward, it's going to be a really tight race, I think, but it won't be a true full competitive market until this merger goes through. If the merger does not go through, I'm telling you right now, T-Mobile and Sprint are going to be so far behind, it's not even funny. And I'm going to report on it. I'm gonna start showing you guys how I'm tracking the permits and such, and it's not even close. T-Mobile has filed for small cells here, but if you compare the number of C-RAN that Verizon and AT&T are filed to deploy, it's not even close. Each of Verizon and AT&T have filed for 400 plus small cells. T-Mobile has barely like 80 of them. So there's just a big difference in the money spending, and it's going to start showing really, really, really big going into the 5G race. And both companies doing the starving the network, so to speak, in terms of the contracts that are being handed out to the tower sector is not helping either company. T-Mobile is still a smaller network, so potentially they could be going into a merger where the company gets bigger, but the network size is still smaller compared to the big two. That is something I'm sure Neville Ray didn't want to happen. I think he wanted the network to be up to par in terms of square mileage, much closer than what it is now. He's on par. Neville is on par in terms of pops of LTE, but when it comes to square miles of LTE, he's not close to the big two. And he wanted to be a lot closer than what he is now by the time this merger comes around. But with this delay, it seems like they're not going to spend as heavy, and potentially they are going to be the smaller network, even as a combined company, when it comes into 2020, 2021. As most of you now know, I reported on this, AT&T is looking to shut down the HSPA. So that means they are going to add density into the network, so that way the user can stay connected to LTE, because HSPA won't be a fallback network anymore. And that means if there isn't any LTE, you won't have any service. So AT&T will be forced to add density into the network using CRANs, macro sites, small cells, DAS systems indoors. They're going to be forced to do so, and they're going to do it. So just wanted to make this video on this Saturday so you guys had some longer content to enjoy. Let me know in the comment section down below. I like reading the comments. It gets pretty interesting down there, hearing your guys' opinion and how your network is in your area. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload content. Also follow all of my social media outlets for more updates. I've been uploading some videos of some speed testing from AT&T and T-Mobile on Instagram. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.